Fight fans, let me let you guys in on a little secret. It's a little rumor that's going around that YouTubers are destroying the integrity of boxing. It's nonsense. It's not real. Because you know what's destroying boxing? Boxing is destroying boxing. And allow me to explain on Fightin' Words with me, Andreas Hale. Alright, boxing purists, you guys aren't happy Jake Paul's fighting Anderson Silva. He's ruining boxing. These YouTubers, they're ruining boxing. Le'Veon Bell is fighting again. He's ruining boxing, the integrity of the sport. Shut up. The integrity of boxing is being ruined by boxing. Because just recently, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, their fight got called off because Conor Benn popped a four and it failed the drug test. And you know what they tried to do? They tried to continue making that fight happen. If that's not a black eye on boxing, what is? What's the point of having a drug test is if you could fail it and the promoter can continue to try to put on said event. That's a little bit ridiculous. That's ruining boxing. You know what else is ruining boxing? Bad scorecards. When I go to a fight and with my own two eyes, I see one fighter dominating, the scorecards read another thing. That's ruining boxing. CJ Ross, Adelaide Bird, we see you giving out these bad scorecards. That's ruining the integrity of boxing. But y'all want to talk about Jake Paul and Anderson Silva. Y'all want to talk about the YouTubers and Eason Gibb and the social gloves cards and, you know, they're not real boxers. They're going to get hurt. Well, what do you think would have happened if Conor Benn would have fought Chris Eubank Jr. with PEDs in his system? Somebody could have got hurt, right? That hurts the integrity of boxing. You guys want to know what else hurts the integrity of boxing? When fights don't happen. Look, Jake Paul and Anderson Silva, they're going to fight on October 29th, whether we like it or not. And at least that fight is getting made. But that Tyson Fury-Anthony Joshua fight? That's not happening. Oh, what about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., the fight that we were waiting years and years to see? Guess what? Still hasn't been made yet. Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis are supposed to fight. No, they're not. That fight's not happening either. Yet you boxing purists want to get out here and continue to say that YouTubers are ruining the sport. They're making it like pro wrestling. No, man. Boxing continues to get in its own way. For the year of 2022, we've had some great fights. We got a chance to see Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. Tyson Fury got back into the ring. We got to see Errol Spence a little bit earlier this year. We've seen Canelo and Triple G finally after 4 years. But the second half of 2022 isn't looking too great. The fights that I just mentioned, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, is not happening. Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis isn't going to happen. That ruins the integrity of the sport. The casual fans don't care about us purists, us that cover the sport, and what we think about somebody coming into the sport that might be bringing a new fan base to the sport, because fighting is a universal language. People like to see people get punched in the face. That's not ruining the integrity of the sport. But when you lie and say a fight's going to happen and it doesn't happen, yeah, that ruins the integrity of the sport. If you can fail a drug test and still try to find a way to keep a fight going, that ruins the integrity of the sport. When I'm watching a fight and I see with my own two eyes that one fighter wins very clearly, but the scores read something else, that ruins the integrity of the sport. You don't have to like Jake Paul. Lord knows, a lot of us don't. But you have to respect the fact that this man is getting into a boxing ring and taking it very seriously. Granted, he's fighting Anderson Silva, who's closer to 50 and could easily be his dad. But yet and still, Anderson Silva just went out there and beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., a former middleweight champion of the world, and he beat him pretty handily. So if you want to say anything about Jake Paul, you should kind of clap for him. It's a fight that he doesn't need to take against Anderson Silva, because Anderson Silva's not even a real boxer, but he's arguably the most dangerous opponent of Jake Paul's young career. And I hate to harp on this, but as much as y'all want to criticize Jake Paul about his opponents, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. fought literal cab drivers on his way to this immaculate undefeated record until he fought Frankie Randall. Look, man, boxing is going to be boxing. It's going to make some mistakes. It's not always going to be pretty. There's not always going to be the best people involved in the sport. But if you think for 1 minute that a YouTuber or a social media influencer is boxing's biggest problem, you got this thing all wrong. The reason why boxing doesn't connect with the mainstream like we want it to do is because boxing continuously shoots itself in the foot. Look, you can say what you want about the UFC and how they pay their fighters, but the reality is when the UFC says a fight's going to be made, it happens. In boxing, that doesn't happen. When you fail a drug test, they pull you off a card. No questions asked. But in boxing, they try to ask questions about a failed drug test. Let's test the B sample. Who cares? It's the same urine in 2 different cups. Who cares? But boxing needs to figure this out. And as we get ready to enter 2023, we got to stop being critical about YouTubers coming into the sport and ruining the sport, because that's just not true. The reality is boxing needs to fix the problems that it has right now. The fights that we need to see need to get made. Quit playing with us. Failed drug tests should not substantiate a fact that maybe we can postpone it. Like, there needs to be some punishment handed out here. But YouTubers aren't your problem, boxing. You are. Let me know if you agree in the comments below. This is Fightin' Words. We're going to talk about the controversial subject, so make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, hit me at Andreas Hale on all social media platforms. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me boxing is its own worst enemy. Tell me that it is these YouTubers that's ruining the integrity of your sport. But if not, agree with me. Get on social media. Tell these promoters to make these fights happen. Tell Tyson Fury to shut up. We need to see you fight Anthony Joshua. Tell Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, get in the damn ring. Because that's what we want to see. Because boxing cannot thrive until it fixes its own problems, because these are all self-inflicted wounds. But until next time, we're out. Peace.